Hello there folks and welcome back to RPG Maker and my channel. This time it's gonna be a presentation on how I do the more or less complex AIs of the students. I usually don't like doing these things because, I don't find myself necessarily as a source of inspiration for others. But the point is, I prefer creating things that probably are more, complex than what most people would like to do in RPG Maker or I don't know in whatever platforms. So with this great process that I'm building, let's call it a project, the modern day project that I'm building, there are students around that will move through the university, so they basically need an AI. Now, the last 10 students of this main map are foreign students, so I need to create a more complex approach to them, like waking up from the beds, going to to a locker, going to the closet, going to take a shower, because, they don't just come from outside the map, aka from their homes. So this means that I'll have to handle all of these processes and well, if you want to make complexity, you need also lists like this, in which I have, stated all the steps that the respective AI will take. There are students who meet one another and they will spend time together and you have to, handle that as well. So you also have to know the different things. Well, we'll go through each of these. Now, in the foreign students dorm which I created here, part of the big map that I'm working on, there are basically 5 beds on the left, 5 beds on the right. These are the girls' beds. And well, student 59 is the first one here, 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63. So they will be the first ones who will be doing the actions reversely because the other ones here start from their beds and go to the lockers, wait, on this side. It's technically the same room as this one, it's just that is, mirrored. So technically I made them in such a way that they have, well, more or less the same actions because they will all take a shower, they will all go and change clothes, or they will cook something and eat food. Depending on situations, and they don't do all the same actions, so some of them. So, you know, this is done so that I can easily copy paste the complex actions and just change the event IDs. So let's actually get started. So this student only exists on this map, so I have to make sure that this map is the only one that happens, you know, and if the player moves away, well, or if the player starts the game on another map and this event starts accidentally, well, this one won't be true, so it will move in the else position. Now we need to change the switch in here because this one is gonna be 2979. This checks whether the student is alive. Well, technically this is if they have been killed, so this one has to be false. And we have to move to the else condition and also change this one in here and put a 9 in here. And should any of these be, well, incorrect, or actually in this case, should any of these still be correct, then this one needs to be shut down. And okay, let's see, 658 is in here, 659, this one is turned off. Wait, this one needs to be in here different than 37, and let me guess, I've accidentally made it so in each of these cases. 57. Oh, really? Okay, doesn't matter that much. 55. I did copy paste this, I'm sure, but I only changed the or. Alright, these students before they have their events written on, their commands, they are on events, well, they are in events that are map bound. The just like the player, events like this. And I will have to put them in here sooner or later. This idea with common events, which is much more optimized as of what I've heard, this was an idea that came quite late. And I wanted to test it only with the foreign students first and then put all the students in here. But once I finish these students, I'm going to create a copy of this project. I'm going to keep it as a backup, and then I'm going to put all the AIs here in common events, and I will test both of them to see which one actually consumes less resources, because this project of mine will actually end up consuming a lot of resources. Now let's see this one. No, we need to go to documents, I think. And I also need to turn on the second one. This is technically the okay, it's open. Good. Let's hit and apply, and let's put it in here. You can open multiple wait, delete, let's delete and paste it in here. You can open multiple instances of RPG Maker, and if any one of those crashes, it's only that crashes. Now my project is quite big enough, so I need to save from time to time, save for a power failure or anything that might actually ruin my work. And there's also a great chance that when I save, it will crash, and obviously that means that I have to do literally everything around. I mean, you see, just like in this case, I only changed a few pieces of data, but it already crashed because it's really in that mode. So RPG Maker, when you open a project, the last one which you opened, in this case it was this one, that's the project that will end. That's the project that you will open when you click the desktop RPG Maker. So make sure you go to your proper folder where you have your project and you click on its own icon. And now when we go here, since we worked in the common events, um, this one saves in a different way. I don't know how to explain exactly, but you see the changes have been saved even if it crashed. And if we look at these, the changes have been saved. If it was with map bound events, well, all the data would have been lost. And it happened to me multiple times. And let's see. No, not this one. This one. So spawn timers. 59 spawns at 7:26. Has breakfast and chats with 60 and 61. Okay. And 8:31. They go directly to class. Okay. And student 61 has two paths. Alright, let's see. So 59. So they start in between 7 and 8. This one needs to be adjusted to, wait, which one was it? 564, okay. 565. Alright. This behavior shows that this is the first path. Some of the students will have multiple paths, and they are chosen based on certain events or purely at random. So that when the player happens to move around and get used to the game a bit, they simply don't enter a game where the students do exactly the same things again. That's why I always create complexity, because I don't want to add any sense of but this one will do the same exact thing. Yes, surely AI, that's what AI is. It's a bunch of code that keeps repeating itself, and there will always be a pattern of repeating. It doesn't matter how much code you put, it can still be learned because it will always be the same thing. But when you have an aspect of randomness, the point is it's gonna be harder for the player to predict. So turn on cell switch A here. Okay, this one will, just like the others, will start with cell switch A. Considering this is the very next student, their ID will be +1. So this is where we start their cell switch A. All right. So I don't, so I no longer need to um, start this one. I can actually relieve the clock system, which I also have in common events. I've been looking for a clock system for a long time. I found some, timer plugins. I've tested each of those, but none of them seemed fitting because the way they took their time into account always seemed to be different than how RPG Maker itself would count time. Because I needed two times in parallel. A plugin that would do that for me because I didn't want to create a timer on my own, and the game itself. And the point was that these two timers actually had to go perfectly in tandem. But the problem was the plugins were always faster than the game itself. I tried Yanfly or something. Yes, his, and I tried another one. But, after a month of tinkering around, I decided, okay, you know what, let's actually create my own timer, and, well, that's what I did. So now we have student movement values. Now, these are the most frustrating part, the movement values, because when the player, 612, when the player changes maps, this map, for example, when it is changed, the students can no longer move. That's the that's the whole problem. So the point is, when the player moves, let's say to the upper floor, all these AIs have to be closed, or there has to be something to tell, okay, that is no longer the map, because all of these have, a reference to a certain event. And if you don't want to see random events moving around when the player switches maps, well, you have to arrange your things in a certain way. Because on different maps, I didn't get the students to have the same exact AIs as on this map. So you also have to take into account the, ID adjustments, which is also a fuss. All right, let's head back to the action. 59. Alright, most likely this is gonna be similar. Let's switch to student 59. I use through on for all of these events because I don't want them to bump one into the other, and I don't want the player to block their positions, their movement and the such. Plus, in this game, it's gonna be more or less very logically similar to Yandere Simulator or any other such games in which you're a student, you go to school, and technically you're not one of the popular ones, and students won't necessarily want to talk with you. Now, I wanted to do something just like Yandere Simulator, where if you talk to a student, you halt their movement and then they continue from exactly where they left. But considering my maps are huge, the point is it's gonna take a whole lot of coding for each and every one of the students. So that's why, logically speaking, it's also gonna fit because you're not gonna be the popular one necessarily. People are simply gonna either hate you based on playable character, that is, if I'll ever stick to all the five characters and not just one and simply call it a quits, because it's gonna take too much time to create events for all of the five playable characters that I initially wanted to add. So with the first character that I'm thinking about, you're not the most, popular, and you're not necessarily agreed by others. You're somewhat partly known, but it's not that people will care much because we live in an ignorant world. So that is why the students won't be speaking to you when they are moving, technically. More or less. I'll see how I'll handle things. I've had to go through four big overhauls in the game because, I came up with new ideas, I came up with new tile sets and the such, so I changed the map, I think 2 times as a whole, and, well, many other changes. So let's see. They have one up, they wait a bit, they jump one up, alright, and, okay, these we can simply delete, okay? Jump up, then we have another up, then we have upper right 3. Now this is thanks to a plugin from Yanfly that allows me to use these scripts, and I really like it. Okay, now let's press OK, and let's see locker. She will use the third locker top up. No animation, so character will wait 1 second. Let's see. So it's 59. She goes here. Wait, jump up. Okay. So one up, jump from bed, one up, 1, 2, 3. Ah, okay. She will be using this one. Okay, so this one is 55-4. Okay. Ah, wait. Actually, I wrote it in there. All right. Let's see. F9. All right. 55-4. But I also need to check things because when you're alone and you do all the things and there's no one else to correct things for you, well, you have to take extra steps. All right. No animation, character will wait. Okay. Good. So she will open the door of the locker in here, 7 to 8, which is handled by this script. There will technically what this script does, it tells a certain event which sound to play. There will be a metallic door opening sound, which, well, these values in here will dictate what kind of sound will be played from a, let's call it a library event. It's technically an event that has multiple sounds in it, which are classified based on a switch, well, several switches and several variables, and based on that, I give values to one of the switches and one of the variables, and I tell the event where exactly to go and play certain sounds. I want things to be done as fast as possible, even if I have to work a bit hard at the beginning. Now we have 59 in here. All right, so she will take the first thing. Now this script in here belongs to Galv. If I remember correctly, that's how his nickname or their nickname is. And what this one means is this if this event, technically student 59, has the player in range 3, and they don't necessarily have to see the player just has to be in range 3, all of these play. So this is a sound which simulates them taking something, and technically if the player is in a short range, the player can actually hear them take that thing. It's just some minor details that I add. I'm always full of such details. I want to create a game that is as realistic as possible. And the door is closed back. Okay, 59, and this one is 7 to 8. The hardest part was to create the first student, and then, these actions will be very similar because technically they are students who do technically the same things. They will go to a locker, they will take things, they will take a shower, they will use the sink, some will cook something, and they will have lunch or something, and then they will go to class, okay? Because technically this happens before the classes start in Japan. As well, if probably you've seen here, the action takes place in Hamamatsu, which is a big city in Japan. But the city is invented by me, and the base map, the town map, was actually rehauled by me. I did a total rework of the map. It looks much better. It looks much brighter now. And I'm actually quite proud of it, I can say. And we have 612. When the player comes back on the map and, based on the timer as well, because that's important, and on other factors, the point is these will be very useful, okay? Because if the player leaves your map, when they come back, they will simply reset the map. That's the point. And all the events will be set back to their original location. You can use a plugin, but in my case it doesn't help. I also have that, but it doesn't help. The plugin remembers all the event locations that you have on your map, but that's already gonna be a huge load because I have a lot of events that move. And well, the good part is you can actually choose which events to actually be saved, or you can actually use a ticket which you put in your map settings, and the map will simply remember all the events locations if you don't want to choose individually. And this one won't help me much because the player coming back into this map, for example, will also have a small waiting time in which, all the students will be spawned where they should be so that, they continue the way where they remain. Because the player can troll your game in this way. If you move as a player from one map to another, when you come back, the students will start, their journeys from zero because everything is reset. So this was the biggest blow that I actually got, and I still have to find one minor workaround, which I actually know, but the point is I actually have to introduce it in the game, but I can't introduce it in the game if I don't have the complete AI for my students, which I have actually done for the first 64, and these will be all the students in, until 63 actually, 63 included. This will be the students that will belong to the ground floor. The other students, till 80 and even further, they will simply, belong to the higher floors. Or I don't know, I will probably arrange some mock events that will simply spawn some random students that will move along the corridors, and they will suddenly spawn in class or whatever. I don't know, I will create some stuff. This whole work with the students has been frustrating enough, has been long enough, and I could hardly wait to actually start introducing it in the game, because it's easy to create the Excels, it's easy to think about the things, but when you get your program to crash a lot, it means that you've probably put way too much. And this is just the students' AIs. I only have very few of the events that I actually plan to create. So that's why I'm thinking about, just building towards this project, seeing how much I can, and if I decide to move on to another platform, I don't know, I'll probably send the console version, aka all of this work, and whoever is interested in buying, they can actually see the complexity of what I've been doing, how I've been arranging my things, my codes, how I've been using certain plugins, and well, they can use it as a reference. Whether there will be people to buy it or not, well, that's not my problem, nor is it a concern. So, stage 2. This one is set to 1. We have 59, okay? So we have, uh, it's actually, wait. Alright, so we have right, perform one step. Lower left, perform one step. Down, 2. Now, I won't be doing these videos too often, okay? So don't expect such things. I usually don't like, let's say, showing my magics in a way. Not necessarily because I'd be afraid that people will take it. Yes, this is also part of family karma in a way. But, okay, so I want you to be fully left. Direction fix on. And direction fix off. To down. Turn left. Wait, do I really want this? Like, they could be... Wait, in here there is no reason for this necessarily. I don't need to add too many lines in here. There is no specificity here. They can move... When a character moves lower left, they can either move leftwards, they will move like this, facing left or facing down. I usually, if they move sidewards, I prefer them actually facing sidewards instead of, appearing as if they look downwards and they, I don't know, it feels a bit less natural to me, but it's just a game. Let's not focus too exaggerately on that. Okay, so the fridge interaction. Fridge door. Okay, here. So the fridge will be in here, right? So they will move one right, one lower left in here, two down, and one lower left in here. Okay. All right. Lower left, and wait, we can actually use here turn left, direction fix and direction fix off. Okay, this one can be deleted because it's not suitable here. They have to actually face the fridge in this case. All right, so it's 59, good. Pick up a plate, wait, from the fridge. This one will, this case will be a fridge. Wait, pick up, let's say food from the fridge. The other one would go to the table and pick up a plate so that they put food in it and then they go eat. Okay, like my actions are actually that complex. This one is 7 to 8. Okay, now I really don't have the animations for characters, and the point is, if I had, I definitely have added them, but I'm doing already too many things to actually bother with animations. And I don't have the, you know, finances to actually allow myself to buy those. Like I've already put $2,000 into this project, actually far more than that, but for someone who works for $600 per month and half of it is locked in monthly installments for the bank, I think that's quite an achievement all by itself. All right, wait. So we have right, lower left, two down, lower left, and then we have here upper right and up. Okay, upper right one and up one. Usually my students will be handling 10 steps in each of the phases, or around 10 steps. Like each of these phases usually has at most 10 steps, because it's easier for me to simply count. Like if they have to do a certain number of steps, it's more or less easier for me to count, um, which serves for different, background purposes, which the player doesn't need to, you know, they don't need to stress their mind with. This is just, let's call it, developer aspects only. All right, so we have um, phase 2, no, actually phase 3, because we start from 0. So let's see. Let's actually look at this so that I don't happen to start adding the steps of another student in this one's place. Alright, so let's see. We have cooker, step anime, bone. Yes, we also start animation on. Okay. Oh wait, actually, I think I forgot that with someone else. It doesn't matter that much. Okay, so the timer, as much as they cook, it really doesn't matter anymore. All right. So let's see. This one, we take it away. And let's see, we'll put it in here. All right. Now what I need is this one. Put it in here. And let's see, 59. And we have, let's actually, wait. Let's actually copy paste this one. Here we delete everything. We have 3 steps up and we have 2 steps to the left. All right. I think I can actually delete this one. And this one is also not needed. Good. So we have this one. Then we have, wait,